Hello, joining us today. My name is Mark Towler. I'm a product marketing director here at Catchpoint, and today I'm joined by Shri Shurgakar, who is our VP of Product Management and Resident Genius. Thanks for joining us today, Shri.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here, Mark, and looking forward to the session.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk a little bit about Catchpoint's new Internet Sonar product and give you a demonstration of how it can take you from disruption to detection at a glance. So with that said, let's jump right on in. To give you a little context, what Catchpoint does is something called Internet Performance Monitoring. And we kind of need to understand that to understand what Internet Sonar is capable of doing. What IPM is all about is monitoring your entire Internet stack. We provide full visibility into the Internet stack. So if there's any sort of issues that are impacting your customers, your workforce, your applications, your network, or any of your website issues, you want to catch those before they cause a bad experience and impact your business. The way we do this is we monitor everything in that internet stack, and that stack's there on the right. It goes from your applications and services right there at the top through all the multiple different layers of the internet all the way to that last mile where your users are. And in between, you've got ad serving, you've got protocols, you've got services like CDNs and BGP. It's all very complicated and it's all constantly changing, and that's where we provide the value. I'll just mention the big difference between us and an application performance monitoring solution is they really only do the top couple of layers, and they start from what we call the inside out. That's the top looking out. We start from where your users are, from the bottom looking in. So there's a couple different ways we do this, all right? One of the key differentiators we want to talk about today is how we use internet synthetics. That's like synthetic monitoring, but on steroids, to monitor your internet stack. So again, as I mentioned, we'll monitor your websites, your applications, your network, your users, your workforce, your customers, to make sure they're having a good experience, all right? And the internet synthetic testing will monitor you if your services are impacted. Basically, internet synthetics tell you if you've got a problem with your stuff. Internet Sonar, on the other hand, pretty much monitors everything else. It monitors all those other third parties that are out there elsewhere in the internet that may or may not be affecting you. And these days, the internet is your new network. Everyone is relying on a bunch of third-party services, cloud services, for a variety of different things. And the most important question you want to answer when you have an outage is this me or is it a third-party service? And what Internet Sonar is doing is monitoring all of those third-party services so they can answer that question immediately. If something went down and it's impacting you, you're going to know thanks to Internet Sonar. It's really a tool that answers that question. Is it me or is it something else? So with all that said, what are some of the advantages that it provides you? It gives you this at-a-glance visibility into the internet, and it's live, so you understand what the status is. The big one is the one I mentioned. We're going to help you improve repair times by diagnosing these problems faster. You're going to be able to answer that question, is it me or something else, at a glance. However, it's also worth considering if your organization does anything regarding compliance or governance or risk, anything where there's money on the line that you're responsible for, you really want independent and trustworthy data when it comes to these third parties, and Internet Sonar will provide you with that data and allow you to get a handle on all of those global internet dependencies that are impacting you and your organization. As well, we haven't really gone into detail, but we could spend all day talking about how the internet is your new network. The internet is tremendously complex. The internet stack that we showed earlier is literally changing by the minute, and you end up with these tremendous architectural complexities. Well, we can mitigate that with Internet Sonar, because it's going to provide curated, that means we have an AI-capable analytic system in Internet Sonar that will analyze this data and make it information, and will give you this data, and it will be holistic, it will be accurate, and it will help you understand exactly what's going on, so your IT team is wasting less time chasing down shadows or solving outages, and more time focusing on activities that actually bring value to the business. So enough out of me. Let's go over to Shri, who knows all about this and almost built this product, and let him show us what Internet Sonar looks like and what it can do. I'm going to pass this over to you now, Shri.
Thank you, Mark. And we spoke with the dozens of customers around this topic. And like you said, right, is it me or is it something else, right? That seems to rhyme very well with respect to the internet stack, right? Do you really want to spend time debugging your own code and infrastructure while one of the third-party services you rely upon, right? So let me quickly show at a glance the quick demo, and then we'll do a couple more of these later during the session. But what you can see here in a moment when the screen refreshes is at a glance view, right? As the title of this session is Disruption to Detection at a Glance, right? And as you can see, at a glance, we are able to show you what kind of outages are going on. So for example, right now, it appears that in Paris, France, there is a Google Cloud outage that is potentially impacting the Google Cloud customers out there, right? So giving you that visibility at a glance so that when you are trying to answer that question, is it me or is it something else, right? If the particular customer is relying on Google Cloud for their cloud infrastructure, then they have a way to see that right here, thereby reducing the mean time to resolve significantly, right, at a first glance. Not only that, as you can see here on the sidebar, you have all the services that you can detect the outages for, including Azure, Adobe Tag Manager, Teams, etc. We'll talk more about this, but the beauty is also like you can customize your views, right? So for example, if you're not interested in you're not using Azure or you're only using certain services, you have the ability to select and include only those, and also having the ability to select the regions of your choice, right? So at a glance, giving you that visibility into the outages to the third-party services in the internet stack.
Awesome, thank you. Let me pick up from where we were. That is really cool. What's it going to do for you, though? Well, let's take a quick look at some of the Internet Sonar benefits. The big one is the one we've already discussed. It's going to answer that question, is it me or is it a third party? And that's going to result in not just lower mean time to resolution and faster resolution of an outage, it's also going to prevent really expensive meetings like war rooms. If you immediately know it's not you, it's someone else, you're not going to spend hours digging through your own code, you're not going to spend half an hour putting together a very expensive meeting of various different organizations within your organization to determine whose fault is it anyway and engage in finger pointing. That's a costly meeting, and Internet Sonar can prevent those in almost every case. Also, that information that we were showing you, the globe, all those data points, that's coming from a continuous testing of our, frankly, unparalleled global observability network. Here at Catchpoint, we monitor over 2,500 different nodes out there consistently and constantly in almost every country in the world, all over the globe, 24/7 in a variety of different services, nodes, BGP, peers, that sort of thing. It's very impressive. It's unique to us. It gives you one big advantage. We're doing this for you so you don't have to pay for it. You could technically do this yourself and set up your own tests within Catchpoint, but no need. We're managing it, we're maintaining it, we're providing this information to you, we're basing it on all of the tests that we're constantly running on our own network, and we're filling in the gaps in monitoring you're going to get with your existing solutions. So the result is a very comprehensive and, most importantly, cost-effective visibility into what's going on the global internet. And one other thing we just like to bring up so you can think about it, so far we've been very IT-centric, what's going to help the IT team, but bear in mind you have other departments, other organizations within your business. HR depends on ADP. Your finance group probably has a number of external third-party cloud-based services that they depend upon. Your marketing team definitely has a bunch of other services they're depending on. All of these organizations are being impacted, and their concerns may not be top of mind for IT. And even if they are, usually it's someone in sales going, hey, Salesforce is down, what's going on? Before IT is necessarily knowing about it. Internet Sonar will inform you of that instantly. And with some of the integrations that we can do, and we'll talk about that in a minute, just think of this. Salesforce goes down, you can automatically send an email out to all of your entire salespeople, Salesforce, all over the place, saying, hey, everyone, Salesforce is down. We're aware of it. We're working on it. We'll let you know when we've got it back up. And imagine how many tickets you're going to prevent just by being able to do something like that. Internet Sonar isn't just for IT, it's for everyone across your entire organization, and it will help you increase productivity and reduce incidents and downtime for not only your people, but for your customers as well. And with that said, let's get into some examples, because we did promise we'd give some real world examples of how this works. One of our customers is a major sneaker manufacturer. We're not allowed to show their logo or mention their name, but you would recognize them. And they told us this story. They, in recent Black Friday, had a major outage on their e-commerce site. They were losing millions of dollars per hour on one of the busiest shopping days of the year. They obviously went into a panic. They spent about 6 hours digging through their own code, trying to identify the root cause of this problem. And they probably would still be doing it if someone hadn't noticed that, oh, hey, their cloud provider just put up an outage notice saying, oh, sorry, we've been down for the last 6 hours. Obviously, that's frustrating. The financial loss is very hard to calculate other than big, and Internet Sonar would have solved the problem in minutes. Remember, it's going to answer that question. Is it me or is it someone else? They thought it was them, and they were focusing on that. They would have been able to realize, oh, wait a minute, our cloud provider. So let's switch to another cloud provider, and we could resolve that. And in fact, Shri, why don't you show us what that would look like?
Isn't this a great story, Mark, right? And
I love this one. I just wish I could mention their name.
Yeah, and we have some examples later with real customer names, right? So
Indeed.
On the same topic, right, this particular customer had that outage on Black Friday, and 6 hours they kept debugging their own code and like trying to see what's the problem. Is it the recent release? Did I break something, right? And imagine those 6 hours, you are losing millions of dollars, right? Now, there is a wide variety of spectrum of customers. So I'll give you a couple more stories here. One of our other customers, when we initially talked to them, when introducing Sonar, we asked them, how do you detect outages today? And they told us that they look at Twitter feeds, or X now, right? X feeds. And imagine the low quality of the signal and how it can impact your mean time to resolve, right? In terms of having the quality as well as the delay of the signals, right? So with that, I think what we have with Internet Sonar is, let me share my screen here. As you can see on the screen momentarily here, right? Again, disruption to detection at a glance, right? At a glance. So this shows a slightly different view. We looked at the nice globe view where you could see the outages. This shows a map view where you can see clearly some of the outages that I was showing earlier on Google Cloud, right? Similar outages like shown in a kind of map format here, whereby at a glance you can see it. And then you also have the ability to kind of, as you can see here, it's not just Google Cloud, but looks like Microsoft OneDrive. To Mark's point, you can send an email to all your employees saying Microsoft OneDrive or Microsoft Teams is having issue at this point of time, and don't open any tickets, because those tickets, right, then the IT support teams have to end up going through the whole ticket cycle, right, closing the tickets and responding to customer employees,
it's your metrics.
It's right, exactly. And then again, you have the ability to kind of scroll down here. I talked about the filters already. So at a glance, giving you that ability to look at those third-party services that you rely upon, right? And whether their outages are impacting your customers or employees, right? So that's the general idea, thereby reducing mean time to resolve, thereby saving millions of dollars for your business.
What I kind of like about this view with the map view is the globe is really pretty. It's great. You can put it up on a knock screen and let it spin there, and you can see things as they pop up. But if you're really looking at diagnosing, I mean, we can zoom in, we can zoom out. You can pick a particular region. If you're looking at a North American issue, for example, and all you care about is North America, you can zoom in so that fills your entire screen. And as Shri is showing here right now, I can choose to only monitor certain specific regions if I want. And again, only certain specific subsets of all of the different third parties that we do monitor. So it really gives you a lot of flexibility and a lot of kind of drill down and filtering capability to diagnose an issue.
Exactly, and our customers are loving that flexibility and kind of ability to get this instant detection of outages to third-party services.
Exactly. Well, and in fact, let's discuss another customer. And these ones, we can use their name. This is Washington Post, and they were actually one of our early adopters. They're as part of the beta preview of Internet Sonar. And their issue was they have a big NOC established because they've got a global reach. They're very sensitive to latency. And like any organization, outages are really expensive. And they told us this right after they started using Internet Sonar. And I'll just read their quote. After troubleshooting for nearly 30 minutes, we determined that an issue is with another critical service provider upon which we rely. If Internet Sonar had been in place, it would have proactively flagged the outage and helped us discover root cause much more rapidly. They were lucky. Unlike the sneaker manufacturer, they didn't spend 6 hours trying to deal with this. They only spent 30 minutes before they realized. But again, Internet Sonar probably would have brought that down to less than 5. And again, in a world where your outages can cost thousands to tens of thousands of dollars per minute, depending on your organization, that's really, really huge. Did you want to give us an example of how this would work, Shri?
Certainly. And in that sentence, I think you should note the another critical service provider, right? So I'll build upon that, right? Because we rely upon so many critical third-party services. So I'm going to quickly use the demo again to show you what those other critical third-party services are. Let me share in a moment here. And so as you can see here, I'm showing the globe visualization again here, right? And what in our observation, we have found kind of 3 categories of services, the different service providers that our customers rely upon. First category is the internet infrastructure category, where you rely upon one or more cloud providers, right? You also rely upon one or more CDN providers and DNS providers, right? So those are the plumbing building blocks of the internet infrastructure, right? And you rely upon those. So what this is showing right now is the Google Cloud outage in Las Vegas, right? It's being shown here, right? So now you might ask me, Mark, what if, right? So what? If you show me this outage, what does it mean, right? So what we have learned from our customer base is that this information is extremely valuable because first thing is it is at a glance, real-time detection using the millions of tests that we run on our platform. We have intelligently detected these outages, right? So it is, in terms of mean time to resolve, it's the first thing that happens. You can find this information. And we have customers who rely on multiple clouds, for example, right? And if you are using Google Cloud as well as AWS, you have the ability to switch between clouds for business continuity and other aspects, right? So same thing with CDN, right? We have customers who use more than 5, 7, 8, 9, 10 CDNs, depending on the geography and availability of the CDNs, right? So again, you can do what is called as CDN. I was at Akamai before, and CDN swapping or multi-CDN is a term that is pretty common in the CDN industry, right? So if you can detect those outages, you have the ability to move to a backup, right? So this is one category around internet infrastructure. The second category is of the services that employees use for their day-to-day functions, right? And Mark, you talked about the Salesforce example, right? If Salesforce is down, your sales employees are going to be impacted. If you can inform them proactively, right, or give them a backup, right, if you have another CRM solution potentially, right? And we have seen that with collaboration applications, right? If Teams is down, can you switch to Zoom, for example, and continue doing your job? And we could potentially record this session, right, if we were in that situation, right? So that's the second category, where what we call as those employee-facing, employee servicing productivity applications, right? And they are a wide range of applications, right? You name it. You named some around sales. There is marketing. There is under marketing, you have HubSpot, Marketo, which are very business critical tools, right? If you take R&D function, there's Atlassian and GitHub and all those, right? So we monitor the outages for all of those services, and collaboration tools included, obviously. These days, security as a service, which is you have the SASE, and SASE stands for Secure Access Service Edge, which is a VPN replacement technology. Those providers, right, if there are outages to them, then there is an impact on your employees, right? So that's the second category around employee-facing applications. The third one, which is an outage shown here in Mexico, right, is Optimizely, right? So take the example of Optimizely, right? In Optimizely's case, it is used for A/B testing for marketing campaigns and other things, right? And if Optimizely is down, it's going to certainly impact the CMO in terms of the marketing campaign and what they are trying to do, right? So 3 different categories around internet infrastructure, SaaS applications, as well as kind of the marketing technology applications. And if you go back to the Washington Post quote, right, another critical service provider. And there is a wide range of these critical service providers in these 3 categories. Right? So with that, I think move on to the next.
Actually, before we move on, in fact, one thing I was going to mention, as I think I recall, and I'm not sure if you mentioned, the issue with Washington Post, I believe, was their CDN went down. And that's something that's relatively easy to switch over to because, as you said, you can't start to fix it until you actually find the problem. So diagnosing is tremendously important, and that's where you need the time. But once you've at least seen where the problem is, then you know how to fix it. And I just want to kind of reference Optimizely again, because the one thing, again, it's not necessarily top of mind in a lot of IT organizations, but the marketing team has a lot of third-party tools that it relies upon. And it's not necessarily going to bring you down like a CDN, but if they can't A/B test, if they are running campaigns and have a series of metrics around those campaigns, and whatever a solution, and it's going to be third-party, marketing isn't buying any software themselves. If they've got a third party that fails in the middle of that, they're not getting any information. And that's huge because they're spending a lot of money on this. And that is exactly where you need the support from the IT team to come in and proactively help with that. If they've got a marketing campaign that goes down, they're not going anywhere, and they need to be able to either restart it or stop it. If they've got a plan where it's like, we're going to put this out for a week and see whether or not A or B is a better solution, and it doesn't working for the first 3 days, and they don't know until later, that's a major, major problem, and it's costing your business a lot. Just my perspective from the marketing side. The only other thing I'll ask while we're sitting here is, we talked about all of this, talked about alerts. Can you show us how that would work? Because one thing I do know with Catchpoint is we're capable of integrating both our data and our alerting system in with a variety of other tools. So what would I see if I'm sitting here and maybe not even using Catchpoint, but using some other system? Would I be getting an alert up on that, maybe in Slack or somewhere else?
Yeah, that's a great question. And the customers, our customers use a lot of variety of integrations with their existing systems, and Catchpoint definitely supports and promotes that kind of activity with different mechanisms, right? So alerts, APIs, like we have webhook APIs, we can talk about those. But what I'm going to show you today is kind of like an example of an alert, and this is something internally we use this system in our like demo environment, right? And director of sales engineering, he told me the story how Internet Sonar has been useful, right? We're drinking our own champagne internally. Right? So this example shows that what you can see here is there was an outage to Google Cloud. As you can see here, the alert generated by Internet Sonar directly points out saying, what is the service that is causing the impact potentially, right? And here it is, I think, Google Cloud outage detected. And it is shown in this format, thereby this can be integrated with your, for example, the person who's on call, right, with PagerDuty or other things, right? This can be easily integrated into Slack or other. We have a variety of integrations that we offer with our platform, right? So now, this, as you can see here, right, if I click on this, I have the ability to not only integrate, but let's say the at 2 a.m. in the morning, Google Cloud is down, right? And the employee now has to attend to that, right? They need to drill down into the things, right? So we have the ability to look at all the things like smartboard and records and other things from here. And when you go into the records page, right, what it is going to do for that is it's going to also show you that Google Cloud outage detected for that, right? The same alert is overimposed. And as you can see, this test failed. And one of the potential reasons behind that was the Google Cloud outage was also detected at that time, right? So gives you that full ability not only to integrate with your systems, but also like giving you the ability to drill down further, right? So for example, if I click on this, it will open the same kind of map view that we just saw where the outages are detected and displayed, right, in Internet Sonar. So giving you not only the ability to drill down, right, but also to kind of like see the outages at a glance. And so this one was showing the Google Cloud outage in the records page, right, while you can see momentarily it will be like the Google Cloud outage again is shown in this page here as well, right? The same ability is available here with Internet Sonar map. If you click on the Internet Sonar map, right, it will be able to show you the outages as well. So a variety of different ways to drill down and kind of do some of the things that typically on a day-to-day basis. And as you can see, now I clicked on that link, the Google Cloud outages momentarily is shown here, right? So it gives you a full ability to not only integrate with your systems, but also once you get notified with the alert, right? How can you go down and drill down into the problem and reduce the mean time to resolve, thereby reducing the impact to revenue and other business impacting activities.
Once we find it, we want to make it as easy as possible to start fixing it. So that's fantastic.
Right.
Fantastic. So we're nearly wrapping up here, but just before we go, I wanted to make sure that we gave you one quick overview of some of the Catchpoint Internet Sonar differentiators. We're aware that we're not the only solution that's similar to this out there, but we do want to make sure you understand why we think ours is significantly different. And I know I mentioned the Global Observability Network a few minutes ago. This is really the key. We are in 2,500 different areas across the globe, 80 different countries, a variety of different types of nodes, and really no one else has access to this kind of capability. And this is what really makes the difference. Our information is real time, it is global, it is being tested from where your users are, not from inside the cloud. So if the cloud goes down, we're not blind, we will be able to tell from wherever we are. And that's really, really effective. It's something our competitors can't do. And that makes that information a lot more accurate. We do know a bunch of our competitors' solutions tend to be a lot noisier. They have a lot more false positives, as Sri was mentioning. In a lot of cases, they're relying upon tweets, on posts, on cloud organizations voluntarily posting outage reports, which is certainly not going to be real time. And in a lot of cases, they've got strong incentives not to report these. So we're definitely giving you real time, and we're definitely giving you more accurate data. And that's important because this is all we do. We are an internet performance monitoring company, and that is our sole raison d'etre. We are not a small, underfunded division of a giant conglomerate that wants to sell you switchgear. We don't have other business lines or corporate masters providing distractions or telling us what to do, or changing our development options. We are focused solely on tools like Internet Sonar and the Catchpoint platform, and that makes our development team exceptional. That's all they focus on. We've been doing this for over 15 years. We've been saying for 15 years we are built by experts, for experts, and our customers definitely agree and back us up on that. And that's also partly due to our exceptional services teams. Not only are we going to help you get set up and running, but we are there and focused on your success. It's not a matter of, call up and let's see how fast we can resolve your problem, because that affects my call times. It's how do we continue to make your organization successful? What is the problem you're having? How can we fix it? How can we make it better so you don't have this again? A lot of our customers are very happy to talk to us, not just because we solve their problems, but because they like dealing with us. And honestly, think of how many other vendors you've got that you could say that about. So enough of that. Let's wrap things up fairly quickly. I want to let you know what some of the next steps are that you could take. If you want to learn more about Internet Sonar, please go ahead and visit us at catchpoint.com/internet-sonar. There's a lot more information there, some more demos, some more details, access to data sheets and the like. You're also welcome to set up a demo. Just give a buzz at hello@catchpoint.com. We'll be more than happy to set something up that's going to be tailored specifically to your needs and your requirements. And with that said, I want to say thank you very much for your time. We will, of course, take questions, but I know some people may want to drop off before that. If you do, thank you. We appreciate your time. We're glad you're able to join us. And now I think, Sri, let's take some questions.
Certainly. Thank you, everyone.
So before we dive into questions, one thing I do want to do is make sure you've got a chance to take our poll. Should be, there we go. That should be open. All right. We just have a couple quick questions for you. I'll give you a minute to fill this one in, but what additional information would you like to know about us? I'd like to see some on-demand demos. You want a personal demo or just some resources, customers, stories, ebooks, that sort of thing. Again, fill this in. We'll be happy to get back to you on this. This is mostly us checking out and seeing how valuable some of these sessions are to you and where you'd like to go from here. And looking at our timing, we actually went a little bit longer than intended. We did have some fairly vigorous activity in the chat while we were discussing this. Good thing Sri and I can multitask. But there's some questions that ended up in the chat. There's a couple that ended up in Q&A. I'm seeing one here, but how long does it take to see the value out of this solution? Sri, I think that's going to be like within minutes. Yes, I mean, the second you've got it set up, it's giving you actionable information, right?
That's correct. And I think because all of the tests and everything has been configured already, right, in terms of detecting these outages, so within minutes. But obviously, it will depend on when the outages occur for some of these providers that you rely upon. But your answer is right. Yeah.
Fantastic. And just some that have been asked and answered, I just want to review them briefly. We had a couple questions about how you can get Internet Sonar. Believe me, we love that question. Internet Sonar is based on the Catchpoint platform. It does run on the Catchpoint platform, but it is a separate product. It does have to be purchased separately. It does not you don't have to have Catchpoint necessarily to use it. You don't have to be a Catchpoint user. You can just get Internet Sonar if you'd like. But if you do have Catchpoint, then you need to talk to one of our Catchpoint reps who can talk to you about your specific requirements. Because, and this actually relates to another question that came up. I've got a question here, do I need to monitor the entire internet, or what if I only care about North America? And I think I mentioned that earlier, but absolutely. Internet Sonar works by monitoring everything, but it's also broken down into regions and into categories. So if all you want to do is look at marketing technology for EMEA, for example, the European, Middle East, and Africa area, we can do that. And only charge you for that. If you want the whole globe, that's one cost. If you only want, say backbone, or not, sorry, not backbone, but infrastructure information, and only for one region, we can do that as well, or mix and match. That's one of the reasons why we're not going to give you an exact price. It's going to depend on your needs and your requirements. Let's see if we've got anything else. All right. We are coming up on the end of our time, and if we didn't, if we haven't hit if we haven't hit your question, or if you haven't had a chance to get it in there, we want to be respectful of your time, so we're not going to keep dragging this out any further. Feel free to reach out to us at hello@catchpoint.com if we didn't answer your question, or if something occurs to you later, or let us know how you enjoyed this webinar. Thank you very much, everyone. I think we'll wrap it up there.